So the bike we have here is a 2018 Honda Africa Twin Adventure Sport. The Adventure Sport market is enormous, and the sale of suspension into that market is key for Nitron. The market is so important for us, we've actually bought our own bike. So we've had this bike to work with for the last couple of months. We've been able to put several thousand miles on it, and we now have a good idea of what's really good about the bike and what's not so good. In this video, we'll be showing you a typical development program which lasts normally a week to 2 weeks, where we literally go through the whole suspension on the bike, analyse what we've got and come up with a solution with a package which will give the rider far more flexibility and suspension that's far more capable. Suspension on these bikes is always quite a challenge. We've got to be able to come up with a package which gives flexibility for all potential owners. You're going to have one guy who wants to take his bike, load it, have a pillion, go on his holiday to Scotland for the weekend, and he needs the bike to be able to perform and be comfortable. The next guy probably wants something completely different. He just wants to go green laning at the weekend and wants a bike that's comfortable, reliable and capable. Hopefully we're going to give you a good insight into exactly how we do this, the methods we use, the equipment we use, and the kind of results that we analyse and expect to see. You're going to see us using dyno analysis, data logging and good old-fashioned seat of the pants. At the rear, we'll be using the Nitron-ADV Adventure Bike Shock. This is basically a 46mm large piston version of our gas monoshock. The larger piston in the 46mm version helps the bike cope with the bangs and knocks that you'd associate with adventure off-road riding. The larger oil capacity also helps dissipate heat better, giving a more consistent and more uniform performance. At the front, we'll be using the ADV version of the TVT cartridge system. The TVT system is used in all of our cartridge kits and is tried and tested. The TVT system is unique to Nitron. It's very effective, but it's also very complex, so much so that we'll be covering it in a separate video shortly.
Okay, so my name is Alex Ruggeri. I'm design and development engineer at Nitron. Honestly, the bike feels great. I mean, even from standard, the suspension is fairly good for what you could say like as a standard usage of the bike, pretty much road, even commuting, a bit of gravel roads. Of course, when you start using the bike a bit more like in some sort of racing environment or maybe like a serious off-road, you find its limits pretty quick. Starting with the rear shock, for example, it uses quite a soft spring rate. The settings are way too soft for a serious off-roading. Spring rates need to be stiffer. Nitron work basically was to stiffen up the suspension and make it compliant with like some serious off-road. So for the front fork, we increased the spring rates and we changed the layout of the OEM design, which implies that you have compression and rebound on the same fork on both sides. We changed that to a fork that does compression and another one that does rebound. So it allows you to use different pistons if you have to, and it's a lot easier to, let's say, valve the fork to specific needs. Off-road, the bike very compliant over like gravel roads, smooth, but as soon as you start going over bumps, the suspension gets overloaded with work to do. It tends to bottom at every single high-speed bump. In fact, we are developing now an hydraulic bump stop that will work at the very end of the stroke to avoid this sort of situation.
Great project, great results. As we expected, the standard suspension isn't quite up to what we would have hoped. Using the TVT cartridge system and the ADV rear shock, we've been able to put together a package which really will give owners and riders the flexibility they need. I'm confident we can now offer a very worthwhile range of upgrades for this bike. If you need more information or maybe some help in selecting exactly what's right for you, please use the details below to contact us.